All right, we're just going to clean up a couple little things with our formatting. So we don't obviously want the chapter title to be all the way at the top of the page like this. What I used to do was just go here and go enter, 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 enter. That's not a good idea because as you change your margin sizes and edit your text, you're just going to have to constantly be going back to your chapter titles and double checking them. So instead, we're going to go back to our parents. We're going to go to our text frame. We're going to go text frame options. Now, baseline options, we want offset to say leading. Now we're going to go use custom baseline grid. And we're going to go start. Let's try 2 inches and see how that works. So now we've created this sort of arbitrary gap starting point in our text frames. We're going to go to our chapter. We're going to go indents and spacing, align to grid, first line only. Okay, reason that didn't work is because I only applied that text frame to one of my parent text frames. I had to do it to both. So, correcting my error, we're going to go to our other parent text frame, go baseline options, leading, use custom baseline grid. We're going to go 2 inches. Now, what we've done is we've nudged our prologue down. Now, in my original doc file with all the text, I had a certain number of spaces in between my titles, and my opening paragraph of each chapter. I don't like to depend on that though. So what I really need to do here is go into my first paragraph with quotes, indents and spacing. I'm going to go space before. I'm going to add an inch. And I'm going to get rid of all the spaces in between. So now we can always depend on there being 1 inch in between our chapter title and the beginning of our paragraph. We're going to do that to all of them now. Going to get rid of the space. Of course, we need to make this change also to our first paragraph because that was only first paragraph with quote. So we're going to go space before. We're going to go 1 inch. And of course, you can tweak this, make whatever distance you want. Now I'm just going to get rid of all the spaces here so that all the distances are going to be consistent with one another. All right, now all of our spacing is consistent. And I'm just going to go deal with our parts now. Part, I'd like to try a different font here. Let's go crazy with it and go with this Cinzel, if that's even how you say that word, and number 26. I'm going to go to part name, and I'm going to make that one Cinzel decorative because we want to be fancy and make it a little bigger. There we go. We're going to increase our leading just a little bit. There we go. Now we're talking. A couple more clean out things we want to do. Under our part, we want to go indents and spaces. Get rid of that first indent, and that'll also affect our part name style because that's a child style. Go to our part, and we don't really want this to be here at the page. We want it to be more centered. So what we're going to do, let's go to paragraph rules. Rule above, keep this checked. We're going to need to change this. It'll be set to black initially. We want to change it to none color-wise. Otherwise, it'll leave some weird black lines around. And whereas this is going to start at 0, we want to change this. Let's try 3 inches and see how it looks. Yeah, this type doesn't matter because you're going to leave your color as nothing. So 3 inches puts us there, which is right about in the middle of the page, which is great. Keep in mind, we just need to get rid of these empty pages. which are going to pop up once in a while. Just keep an eye out for them. They're always just going to be leftovers of your original Microsoft Word file or whatever it is that you originally use as a word processor. As you format, you're just going to have to go through and delete these empty pages. Now, there's one last thing we want to do. We're going to make yet another paragraph style. We're going to call it After Dinkus. And we're going to base it on first paragraph. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go drop caps and nested styles. I'm going to get rid of our drop caps because I don't want them. However, I'm going to make sure our indents and spacing are set to 0 and our space before is set to nothing. Now I'm going to go to our dinkuses. Let's find one. And unfortunately, we're still going to need to go through and change all of these manually. And it just means that we don't want the tab. We don't want that indentation at the beginning of those paragraphs after the dinkus. All right, so now you have this very nice formatting where all your parts are set up. Your chapters are where you want them. It's looking pretty good. And we're going to make it even better in the next video. Hold on, what's this? An empty page. Let's get rid of that. Probably just a good rule of thumb would be to go through all the ends of your chapters and get rid of just all these blank spaces, because they're going to cause you some formatting trouble later on if your page counts change or anything. So it's just going to be a good habit to get rid of that. It's just not the way you want to do formatting if you want it to be clean. Quick note, definitely worth thinking about. You might end up with paragraphs like this where, closing the distance, the word distance is separated. I don't know. You might be okay with that. You might find it distracting. Personally, I like to change that up just a little bit. So we're going to go to basic paragraph. We're going to go to hyphenation. We could turn it off. And if we turn it off, then it won't happen at all. And we will probably drastically change the length of our page count. And also, we're going to end up with some weird justifications. Some sentences are going to look stretched occasionally. Let's undo that. Let's go back here. Basic paragraph, hyphenation. Words with at least 5 letters. Let's increase that. Let's increase that to 8. After first 4. So what that means is we're not going to end up with awkward words where the first 2 letters might end up on one line followed by the rest. So it'll still split a word like shovelers. That'll still be split. That one makes sense. But something smaller where it doesn't need to split it, or it's just going to be distracting, I think that makes a lot of sense.